Halo guys, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih sudah klik video ini. Kali ini kita kedatangan seorang tamu dari luar negeri lagi. Cantik, berkarisma, dan juga memberikan ilmu untuk kita saat video reaksinya. Dan kebetulan juga dia adalah seorang guru vokal yang tentunya jika ia mereaksi pasti memiliki nilai plus atau nilai tambah untuk kita yang melihat atau menyimak video reaksinya. Penasaran seperti apa komentar dan juga kelanjutan video reaksinya ini? Jangan kemana-mana guys, langsung aja kita cek ke videonya. Let's go.
Click the reaction/vocal analysis. So here we are.
Vocal analysis katanya.
Oh, she plays herself.
Final ini ya.
Yes. Just right away, right up in my alley, starting with that gorgeous run and that perfect lightness in her head voice. But like a beautiful contemporary sounding head voice. Like, not that there's anything wrong with classical sounding, but you know, in this context, a beautiful contemporary head voice is what we want. And I love that she accompanies herself on the piano. When singers are able to do runs on top of that, they can be simple rhythmically or they can be more difficult. But when you're playing at the same time, you need to sort of coordinate your body movements, your hands with your singing, and your singing, your vocals, your instrument, your vocals are also your body. So it's sort of hard to get that coordination. So I really appreciate a singer who's able to do both.
Thank you, sister.
No more of your darkness.
Okay, tone.
All my pictures
Yes.
seem to fade to black and white.
Gorgeous, like her phrase endings. On one of them, she just went one note down. On the second, she went like a little 2-note or 3-note little thing. Just so controlled. So like the volume is so light, but very like she's connected. She's there. Gorgeous. Also the vibrato she put on there. She like and that fullness of her tone. So beautiful. Just beautiful.
So beautiful, just beautiful gitu.
Seem to fade to black and white.
Saya nggak bisa bayangin gimana rasanya Putri Ariani menghadapi banyak orang yang melihatnya secara langsung ya.
Growing tired.
Apakah dia akan grogi?
Those breaks at the
And
beginning.
time stands still before me.
Beautiful,
Oh.
soulful vibrato gives me like proper gospel vibes. And you know, Elton John, who had this song, Elton John and also George Michael, I think they did a version together, and one was only Elton John, or was it always them together? Anyway, both have these soulful ways of singing, and especially that vibrato she adds here reminds me a lot of the way that Elton John sings his vibrato, like the tempo of it and sort of the pitch variation in, because you know that's what a vibrato is. It's sort of you're on this note, this is the pitch, but you let your pitch go a little bit above and a little bit under that note, like it undulates above and below the note, sort of, or yeah, variations thereof. But the way she does it here, the way, like the frequency distance there, and also her tempo reminds me a lot of Elton John. That was a long way to say something. All right.
Apakah dia sedang confused? Apakah dia tuh grogi ya saat menyampaikannya?
Yes.
And left me blinded by the light.
The control.
Don't let the
Before we go into the chorus, I just have to props to
What?
that gorgeous tone. And did you see how she widened her mouth positioning when she went up to higher notes there and gave it more volume too? But apart from just doing like what needs to be done with the mouth, she looks so relaxed, and it's gorgeousness coming out of her. That tone is so rich.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. And also her control, her breath control, and her agility on there. I'm really excited to hear more.
Come on.
This is my first time checking her out. So
Jangan berhenti kalau gitu.
left me blinded by the light.
And also with that little break. Gorgeous.
Don't let the sun go down on me, yeah. Although I search myself, it's always someone else I see.
She has this gorgeous gospel way of singing. Again, I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with her vibrato, but I am. So the way that the tempo, like I said, of her vibrato, the way she uses it, where she places it in the phrase is so soulful. It's so gospel, and with the choir and everything, so beautiful. And I also appreciate that she did the "Don't let the sun." She did the whole run there, and I appreciate that, because some people just do "Don't let the sun." Just they simplify it, but she did all the notes, and I appreciate that. And it was really good note separation in her runs too. And that's something that I really appreciate when a vocalist is agile like that and can do runs. One thing is that they are musical, that they're not a one-trick pony. They can change it up, depending on the arrangement of the song and the chords. And the other thing I really appreciate is good note separation. A sloppy run can be cool too, all in its time, all in its place. But yeah, she's got really good note distinction.
I just love
Ternyata dia juga jago nyanyi guys ya.
your life. To wanna feel
Into that head voice, gorgeous mix.
Yeah.
Yes.
by losing everything. It's like the sun going down. Sun going down. Sun going down.
That richness of her tone, if you want to experiment with your tone and try to how can I get something more similar to her or someone else, a different singer that you like, you can try to sort of shape your soft palette differently. Whether you have a low soft palette or a high soft palette will really change your tone. And there's also a lot of other things that go into it, where you sort of place your resonance. That goes into also the vocal qualities. Like, do you place your resonance more in the chest, like a chest voice, or head, like a head voice? Or like when you do the mix, do you place it very in your mask? Or, so there's a lot of things that can go on. But in her case, she has a really warm, rich tone, and if you try to play around with how you place your soft palette, you can play around to sort of get that tone, and also your mouth placement, how wide it is, but don't do anything that hurts.
Masuk kelas lagi kita guys ya. Kita mendengarkan guru yang sedang mengajarkan sesuatu untuk kita. Thank you. Gorgeous connected head voice notes there. Again, very contemporary sounding. You don't have that big vibrato. There was no vibrato here, I think, or that big rounded tone. It's more of a contemporary sounding head voice, but it's a very clear head voice. It's very beautifully performed. And with that slide at the end, almost like a glissando, but when there is no sort of end note to go to in a glissando, maybe you can classify it as an open-ended glissando, but yeah, it's just like a slide at the end there. And I love the choir, so just also props to the production. The choir sounds gorgeous. Yeah. Thank you, sister.
I just love you, break me, love your life.
Gorgeous mix up there.
To wanna feel by losing everything. It's like the sun going down.
Just have to talk about that tone. We're gonna get to the end here, but there's also copyright to worry about, and this is America's Got Talent, so we have to pause.
Yeah.
But really notice her mouth positioning here, because sun, for someone who that tone doesn't come naturally to, it's very easy when you play around with your soft palette like that to get into Kermit mode, and that's not what you want, because that's not what she sounds like. But just notice, there's a high soft palette, there's good space in her mouth, but she's really relaxed. her face, like she's not twitching any face muscles or straining or anything like that. It's just letting her mouth shape do the work to let the right frequencies out, you know? No, that's not all, you know, obviously, but it looks like it because she makes it look so easy to do what she does. And it's not. It doesn't look intense, you know, when you sometimes the visual of a singer going intense can make you feel like, yeah, they feel it so much, so you feel it even more. But to sit with a straight face like this, that's you know, impressive. It's technique. She's got the full control. And again, that agility, that run she did there right before this, she's got the control.
Panjang sekali ya udah.
On me.
Penasaran saya setelah ini apa yang ingin dia katakan nih guys ya. Kita tunggu aja guys.
Gorgeous tone on that head note. Yes. All right, I'm just gonna say something, and I'm sorry if it's controversial, but I love Whitney Houston too, and she's got something in her tone that reminds me of Whitney Houston. Please don't be mad. I'm a fan too.
Yeah.
And now I'm a fan of her too. So yeah, that was such a gorgeous performance, and I've heard that the U2 one, still haven't found what I'm looking for, that's so gorgeous too. So I can't wait to check that out. Let me know in the comments if you want a reaction.
Oke, terima kasih buat reaktor cantik ini yang telah memberikan komentar baiknya kepada Putri Ariani. Saya suka sekali bagaimana cara Anda menyampaikan sesuatunya di video ini, sister ya. Karena kita semua yang melihat dan juga mendengarkan apa yang Anda katakan itu mendapatkan sesuatu yang lebih atau nilai plus atau nilai tambah, ya kan? Apa yang dia sampaikan itu berdasarkan ilmu pengetahuan. Tentu saja jika guru vokal itu memberikan reaksi, guru vokal juga memberikan komentar, pasti dia berdasarkan ilmu. Ini yang saya suka ya. Jadi kita seolah dalam sebuah kelas guys ya. Sebuah kelas kemudian mendapatkan pelajaran dari seorang guru atau mungkin seorang dosen gitu ya. Apa yang ia sampaikan itu bisa kita dapati. Akhir artinya yang kita nggak ketahui, akhirnya tahu dari beliau ini ya. Kemudian dia katakan, apakah ini nanti mendapatkan klaim hak cipta dari AGT musik? Enggak, sebenarnya gini sister ya, mungkin dia belum tahu ya guys. Kita akan beritahu dia. Jadi yang namanya klaim hak cipta AGT itu ada klaim ID yang memprotek seluruh videonya. Jadi kalau untuk sound sendiri, suara itu dia tidak memproteknya. Jadi jika Anda membuat video reaksi tentang AGT ya, video-video AGT ya, lebih baik itu diburamkan karena AGT sendiri tidak mengizinkan video-videonya sebenarnya untuk tayang di tempat yang lain. Karena nanti bisa aja dolar merah. Dolar merah itu artinya kita diblokir ya guys ya, nggak bisa tayang, benar-benar dihapus videonya. Makanya ada diburamkan, jadi diperbolehkan. Artinya AGT tidak mengizinkan videonya lengkap untuk ditampilkan karena dia nggak mau mungkin ya ditonton oleh banyak orang selain di channelnya. Seperti itu ya. Nah jadi it's okay, untuk suara sih nggak masalah kok gitu ya. Oke, sekali lagi terima kasih buat guru cantik ini, dan buat kalian guys yang belum tahu channel reaktor ini, silahkan kunjungi channelnya karena link channelnya sudah kami lampirkan dalam deskripsi video ini. Terima kasih banyak buat kalian yang sudah menyimak. Jangan lupa like, comment, dan subscribe. Pas step closer, don't go anywhere, stay with me, and jangan lupa berkarya hari ini. Bye.